Netflix Animation just dropped a brand new movie packed with big name stars like Simu Liu, Kristen Milioti, Craig Robinson, and others. It's already climbed into Netflix's top 10 movies, but that still leaves the big question. Is this one really worth your time, or should you skip it altogether? Let's get started on my review of In Your Dreams. Let's go. What's going on, all my beautiful people? This is JC, and I just finished watching In Your Dreams. Before I do get started on my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review, just in case you haven't seen it yet, currently showing on Netflix. Also, please make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more new animated movies that I'm reviewing just like this. Alright, so In Your Dreams. This was one of those movies when I saw the previews for it about a month ago, I thought, this could be interesting, looks a little creative, and it kind of reminded me of DreamWorks' Guardians that came out years ago. Now, if you guys remember that film, it starred Hugh Jackman, Jude Law, a few others, but it had to do with the Sandman and all of these different figures trying to defeat him, including Jack Frost, the Easter Bunny, etc. So when I did see the previews of this, I thought, okay, this could be really interesting because it looks like it's about a brother and a sister, and they go into a dreamlike world and they want to see the Sandman. Now, from the previews, it looked like a wholesome movie, so I thought, okay, let's see what this is all about. But In Your Dreams centers on Stevie, a middle school girl who feels responsible for keeping her family together. And not to tell you guys too much, but her younger brother Elliot constantly tests her patience. You can right away see in the beginning, you're like, okay, they're not that close. Much like a lot of brothers and sisters and just honestly siblings in general, sometimes you don't always get along with them and you think, man, it'll be a lot better if it was just me and my parents. Things change when Stevie discovers a mysterious dream book, and when she and Elliot read it out loud, they're pulled into their dreams. But really, the film is about family, and it's about togetherness, and also things are just not always perfect. That's pretty much the synopsis, you guys. And when they're in the dream world, that's where most of the fun is to be had. The dream world leads them into various places like Breakfast Town, where dancing pancakes and talking muffins entertain them. You guys have probably seen it in the previews. And later into nightmare zones where school tests appear out of nowhere and everything turns chaotic. It's not always dark, which is good, but the best thing about it is that the story isn't just about dream adventures. It's about Stevie learning that she can't carry the weight of all of her problems by herself. Even though the dream world gives her control, she slowly realizes that real life doesn't work that way and it's not always perfect, which was the best part of this film. It kind of shocked me. Now, I gotta get into the voice acting. The voice acting is one of the film's strongest parts. Jolie Hong Rappaport gives Stevie a tired but determined voice that matches a kid who's always trying to keep the peace. You can hear this throughout most of the film, and I love how she balances a lot of that, whether it's her getting mad at her little brother or trying to keep the peace within the family and really taking a lot of that weight on her shoulders. Now, Elias Jansen, who plays Elliot, does a great job. He makes this hyper and curious type of nature of Elliot stand out as a little brother, which works well for the dream scenes, especially because Elliot gets excited about flying on his bed and some of the smaller little things like meeting the Sandman and even feeling fear when he's scared. Simu Liu and Kristen Milioti as the parents add a realistic emotional layer. In scenes where they try to hide their stress from the kids, their voices crack just enough to show something is wrong without saying it out loud. I mean, to be honest though, I didn't expect anything different. Simu Liu is one of those actors that I feel like can hold the drama as well as some action if needed. And of course, Kristen Milioti, do I need to even say much about her, and especially her performance in The Penguin? That was amazing for sure. So it was nice to see them as parents and give a little more drama to their characters. And then, of course, there is Craig Robinson as Baloney Tony. His delivery is goofy on purpose, like when he tries to give serious advice but immediately follows it up with a silly joke. He sounds exactly like the kind of sidekick a little kid would imagine. And I feel like Craig Robinson's good in those roles where he balances some of the funny parts in a different type of way that is nonchalant, and he kind of has this natural way of delivering these lines that make it funny. Now, we also have to talk about the animation because yes, this is a Netflix animation studio production. The animation is bright, bold, and full of personality. Dreamland feels like a place where logic doesn't matter, but in a fun way. For example, Elliot's bed grows tall, metal legs, and runs like a wild horse and also flies. Later, the siblings shrink down to a toy size in a Wonderland-style sequence where ordinary furniture towers over them, and that was fun to see as well. But the whole scene with Breakfast Town was probably a standout for me when it came to the fun. It featured foods that wobble, dance, and talk. The color palette shifts depending on Stevie's emotions, which I'd love to see. Warm and golden during happy memories, and washed out or twisted when the nightmares start taking over. And I gotta hand it to Netflix Animation. Not only did they reveal their logo not too long ago, but rolling this film out with it is a good pairing. When Nightmare corrupts the dream world, and yes, Nightmare is the other character in there aside from the Sandman, objects become darker and distorted. The friendly muffins grow moldy, and playful animatronics turn into creepy, jumpy creatures that chase the kids. There's one sequence in particular where their grandma pops out of some of the bushes, and it's built like a maze that's a playful nod to The Shining. She even says something that mimics one of the popular lines in that film. It was nice to see some of those nods, and I thought, man, this is not only for kids, it's also for adults too, aka the parents that are watching it with them. But all of these changes help show how close dreams and fears are in Stevie's mind. Now, another thing that I feel like added to this film is the music, which really surprised me because I didn't think anything of what the music was going to bring to this film, and it threw me off when I heard even the first song in this movie and thought, wait, is that Hey Ya by Outkast playing? But the music adds a lot of personality to the film. During lighthearted scenes, the score uses playful, bouncy instruments that match the kids' imaginations. For example, the Breakfast Town scenes use happy jingles that sound like old school Saturday morning cartoons. Love that part as well. And of course, the song choices, like I just mentioned. The movie also features a lot of them in a clever way. When the dream magic starts, the soundtrack hints at classic sleep-like songs, including Sweet Dreams, the iconic song by the Eurythmics. And when the Sandman appears, an eerie version of Mr. Sandman plays, setting the tone without scaring younger viewers. You also hear at one point Enter Sandman by Metallica. Yes, that classic song in this movie, and it threw me off, but I was so ecstatic to hear that song. I thought, yes, that's awesome to play in a sequence like this. During nightmare sequences, the music becomes chaotic and sharp, almost like a mix of spooky sound effects and fast-paced beats. These musical shifts help guide younger audiences through each emotional moment without the film ever feeling too frightening. I thought you could watch it with one of your toddlers and with one of your preteens, and they would all still love it, including you as the parent or adult. But the overall message in this film is all about learning to accept change and understanding your limits. Stevie thinks that everything's meant to be perfect and maybe things should be different. But through the dream world, she learns that some things like growing up, moving on, or dealing with conflict aren't meant to be controlled, which is an excellent lesson in life that sometimes kids have to deal with and they may not know how to deal with it. And with its creative dream worlds, expressive animation, lovable characters, and heartfelt message, In Your Dreams is a great watch on Netflix. It really surprised me. It's funny, imaginative, and meaningful, making it a strong pick for families and animation fans alike. So if you don't have anything to watch with the kiddos this weekend or during the week, definitely check this one out for sure. And with all that being said, you guys, I'm going to give In Your Dreams 4 flames out of 5 and a fire film rating.
It's good. It's good.
It's absolutely worth watching on Netflix for sure, especially if you enjoy animated movies with meaning, humor, and great visuals. Now, honestly, this might be one of the best films that Netflix Animation has put out, but you know, they also have some great ones like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and also one of my personal favorites of Mitchell's vs. the Machines, although that is Sony Animation. You guys get my drift. There's so many I feel like I could name, but this one for Netflix Animation, for their studio alone, honestly, I think it was pretty well done. And I'm excited to see what else they do next because this really felt like this was a Pixar film, even with its message and some of the animation and fun to be had. But all right, guys, so have you seen In Your Dreams yet? If you have, let me know what you thought of it overall in the comments below. And last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name is Jason. Until next time, I'm out.